And welcome back to the Leeds Lens. I said if we'd won, I was going to be on here absolutely buzzing. And I can tell you for a fact, I am coming on here absolutely buzzing. That is Leeds United's biggest result of the season so far. Leeds United 3, Nottingham Forest 1. Match reaction. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. What a result that is for Leeds United. There is bits to talk about. I think the way we managed the game at 3-1, maybe a bit of a question mark. But today, as we know, all about the result. And for 80 odd minutes, Leeds United were absolutely fantastic tonight. Took the chances, although we could have scored more. Calvert-Lewin hit the post in the first half. I thought Bogle was immense. Everyone's saying Gruev before the game. Gruev, why is Gruev playing? Why is Gruev playing? It's all negative FC before the game. Why don't we watch the game? Then you can make your opinions. Well, Gruev came out with 2 assists and took one in the face and got a nice red nose to qualify his performance as well. But overall, as I said, what a result for Leeds United. And that has got to be Leeds United one step in the Premier League next season. It has to be. It actually has to be. That I said coming on, and I felt tonight was huge. I felt tonight was absolutely huge. I know, obviously, there's a lot of games to go, and there is a lot of games to go. But Leeds United now are on 29 points, maybe, probably going to be needing 11 more points in the last 13 games. And with Leeds United still playing Forest at home, with Leeds United still playing Burnley at home, you would hope now that we can get over the line this season. But what a result, what a performance. And some shout-outs, as I said, Bogle, outstanding tonight, absolutely outstanding. Well result of his goal, but also on a defensive standpoint, I thought it was really good. I thought James just naturally as well. Haven't seen as much loving for him online. I thought he was brilliant tonight. But truthfully, I mean, when you win 3-1 in the Premier League, pretty much everyone's had a good game tonight, haven't they, in moments. I think everyone contributed. Even thought Carl Darlow made quite a few decent saves. He obviously made a really good save from Sangari right at the end, but also made a few other good saves. Winning the first half, I believe, as well, from Dominguez. Really good save to his right-hand side. Obviously, the keeper's, the poster's left-hand side. But as I said, well, we just think where we'd be right now. Think where we'd be right now if it was the other way around and we'd lost this game tonight. Think where we'd be. Think how low we would be. And that is what the amount of negativity that would have been had we lost tonight would have been off the scale, and probably rightly so, because then you're looking at it going, wow, Leeds United have lost against Arsenal. If they'd have lost tonight, you're going, they would lose there. Then they've got 3 ridiculously hard games, and then you could be going into the last 10 games that are massive for Leeds United on 5 losses, and you think, how Leeds United get out of that? And also, if we'd have lost tonight, we know, obviously, West Ham are playing tomorrow. They're playing against Burnley. Huge game, obviously, as well. But now I think we can watch that game and we can just hope Burnley win. But it's not like an absolute end of the world if Burnley do win now. And that's important because it's not like the end of the world, should I say, if West Ham win. That was really, really important. That was really important that was the case. Because, as I said, I do think tomorrow that West Ham will win. I do think that'll happen. And I think, obviously, at that point, they'd only go 3 points behind us had we lost tonight. And that would have been huge and massively important and a massive disaster had that been the case, because then of course all they need to do is match our results from then and the end of the season. They beat us on the final day and they're probably still in the Premier League, so that's why it's so important. But as I said, to sort of wrap the intro up, I do think we're a step closer to the Premier League survey now. This is the first time I felt like as optimistic as I haven't felt as optimistic all season about staying up, put it that way. I think it was that important tonight. Andy says, what a 3 points, just what we needed. Couldn't have summed it up any better, Andy. What a fantastic result. Jack says, cracking result, buzzing, marching on together. Scooby says, Forest was the best goal though. I had 3-1, but I had a Brendy DCL to score. And any card, Bogle. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But surely happy with the win, Scooby. I presume you are. Great win tonight. And thank you for your non-negativity, buzzing after the results and performances, Stephen. Mate, I just give my opinion. I know some people are a bit more worried at Leeds United at this moment in time, and I get that. As I said, going into this game, if we'd have lost, we would have come on here and would have been seriously worried. We would have been, and that's a matter of the doubt. And I think people were obviously really worried going into tonight's game. I said yesterday, I did think we'd win tonight. I did think we'd win the game. We can't get away from Leeds United's home form. We said at the start of the season, if Leeds United's going to maintain the safety, they're going to have to do it on home form. I think that's 22 points picked up at home now in like 12 or 13 games. 22 points. Outstanding at home. We've been outstanding at home. PSS says Crystal Palace and Spurs are in it as much as trouble as us now. It gives us more motivation when we play them. Definitely, mate. Definitely. Scooby says Chelsea ... roll sleeves up ... looking forward to it. Yeah, but I think that's what we can do now, mate. I think obviously we've got this 6-point cushion. We've talked about for the longest time, and you'll be sick to death of me talking about this. Get to them last 10 games, and we're in a fantastic position. That was always the play. In our last 10, we've got Sunderland at home, we've got Brighton at home, we've got Wolves at home, we've got Burnley at home, we have got Brentford at home. 5 really good games in our last 10 games. So the aim was always get to that point. And now we're going to probably get to that point outside the bottom 3. Even the results go horrendously from us from this point till that game. And that's massive, because at that point, even if we're just outside the relegation zone, we should stay up because the fixtures are there to do it. But that's why, again, tonight was so important. And also, obviously, with tonight as well, naturally, I've denied the fact for a long time that Nottingham Forest in relegation fight. I've said that they're in it, because truthfully, you're in it till you're not, categorically. Like everyone talked about with Villa, where they were in the title race till they weren't. I think tonight, if you're a Forest fan, you are cacking it. I really do. I think you are seriously nervous having watched that performance tonight. Because if, as I said, if we were in that position, we'd feel the same. And I do think tonight might be the turning feeling in terms of a neutral standpoint that Forest actually could get relegated from this Premier League season, because they are awful. And I know they obviously showed a bit of heart at the end, showed a bit of fight. I think we can talk about how Leeds United managed the game at 3-1. Don't want to talk too much negativity, obviously, because as I said, what a result. But we can talk maybe about how Leeds managed the game at 3-1. But Forest did sort of give it a go after they scored, and obviously fair play to them. But I thought for the majority of the game we beat them up tonight. I thought we did, and I actually thought there was a spell in the second half, from about sort of after we scored the 3rd goal until about probably the 70th, 80th minute, where we were just absolutely brilliant. It's probably up there with the sort of performance, a spell of performance of the season. I remember really early in the season we played Bournemouth at home, and we had a spell just after half-time, after Longstaff scored, that was just impeccable. And I thought we were at that level tonight, especially in that moment. I thought in the first half, actually, we were 2-0 up in the game, but actually they'd had a number of chances. I do think that, like I thought, obviously Jesus had a number of chances, but we obviously took our moments. Calvert-Lewin obviously missed his good chance, but Bogle obviously finished a really good chance off, and then Okafor obviously scored now, which is massive for him, but he obviously couldn't really miss that chance. But I didn't actually think we were like unbelievably better in the first half. But I actually said it was the second half performance, actually, when we went 3-0 up, that was just a world apart from Forest. And we actually, to be honest, I felt tonight looked like we were more up for it than Forest. And I think you'll probably see that on the Forest end a lot. Them talking about the fact that they weren't as up for it as Leeds United. We know Leeds United's crowd is off the scale good. We know it is. We know it's unbelievable. And our record at home, especially in night games, speaks for itself. It is unbelievable, our record in night games. And actually, we've got some good night games coming up. We've got Brentford on a night game. I believe Sunderland's a half 5 kickoff as well, which is a massive positive. Again, bringing into this night spirit that we seem to have at Ellen Road. But we just seem impeccable at that point. And as I said, that spell in the second half was as good as anything I've seen from Leeds United. It really was. I think it was a benefit, I must admit, that obviously they were missing Murillo at the back as well. I don't think Ortega's that good of a goalkeeper. I know a lot of you were sort of really frustrated that Leeds United didn't go there. I don't think he's been as bad as obviously a lot of Forest fans are saying on Twitter, actually. But I don't think he was particularly great in the game. But I don't think he's a particularly good goalkeeper, Ortega. I've never really thought that. I think he's good with his feet, but he plays in Man City. I think he's kind of been overrated because of that. Matt says, was that Gruev or KDB? Mate, the amount of negativity, and it's not just online. I've had people in my family talk to me and say about Gruev and how crap he is, and the first goal was massive tonight, and we got that from an unbelievable Gruev pass into Bogle, an unbelievable pass. Everyone says he only passes backwards. Yes, he does pass backwards a lot, but he maintains possession a lot, and he played that beautiful pass tonight. And obviously, I don't know if his second assist from the beautiful finish from Calvert-Lewin was an assist or a sort of shot. I'm not fully sure, because it wasn't hit hard enough, you wouldn't have thought, for a shot. But regardless of what it was, he comes out with 2 assists. And as I said, you've got to give him credit where it's due. But I do think Bogle was probably the pick of the bunch tonight. A lot of sort of positivity for Aronson in the chat as well. I agree with that. Aronson's just a warrior in there. And I think above average anglers sort of summed it up perfectly. Aronson's a warrior. And I agree with you. I actually think he is. I think that's his... I think he's such a battler. I think he goes on and on and on. Look, at times he makes daft decisions. At times he doesn't release the ball quick enough. But one thing we've always said with this Leeds United team, and I think if we are to maintain safety in this league, which I do think we probably will do now, which is fantastic, I think a lot of it will come down to our drive and our team spirit. I really do. I don't think we're an unbelievably footballing side. I really don't. But I think we work for each other like there's no tomorrow. I think we're good at set pieces. I think we're strong physically. And I think we've got a really, really good team spirit. And I think they are genuinely a really good set of lads at Leeds United at this moment. And it's nice. And you see, I remember the year we got relegated, and this is probably going off topic and maybe more for a Friday night show. But I remember when we got relegated. Oh, it's a Friday night. What am I on about? But I remember we got relegated, and there was a video of us all walking out of the game. Or before the game in a hotel. If everyone remembers it, it went absolutely viral. And no Leeds player interacted with crowds at all. There was a massive crowd there, kids there. No one interacted. And now you see with this squad, that would never happen with this squad. They're a better group of lads than we had. And they fight for each other and they fight to the death. And they don't, as I said, they don't have, some of them don't have unbelievable quality. But the sort of team cohesion that we have, the way we set up that nullifies opposition, this back three go into it, all of it combined, has just been fantastic. And obviously the manager deserves due credit in that as well. I think he's forged together a huge set of group of lads now. And actually, if you look through a lot of the signings now, this is a Daniel Farke team. It's pretty much all Daniel Farke signings. I mean, how many's left that weren't Daniel Farke? Darlow's Daniel Farke, Rodon's Daniel Farke, Justin's Daniel Farke, Bogle's Daniel Farke, Goodmanson's Daniel Farke, Ampadu's Daniel Farke. They're all Daniel Farke players. And you can see what he's been trying to build with this Leeds United team in the way that we play, in the sort of characters that we've put up together in this team. And he deserves huge credit for that. He really does. Grave the Go, Okafor had a party out there. Yeah, I thought Okafor was much better. And actually, I think Okafor needed a game like that tonight. I think he'd obviously been a bit roped for weeks. And we always said with Okafor, and I think this will be sort of subject to his whole time at Leeds United, actually. He can have fantastic games and he can also have crap games because the way he is, he does take risks. He does take people on. He does drive down the touchline. And when you play like that, you are going to give the ball away. And I think sometimes we've got to accept at times he might go for a few months where it's not going to work for him. And then he might have a game like he did tonight when he's really good. And I thought he was fantastic, although it did look like he was limping at the end, so hopefully that wasn't the situation. Jack says, can we play at night every week? By the way, I know, mate, our record on night games is outstanding. PSF says, Aronson has earned a new contract. He's only going to improve. I agree with you, mate. I think he's been fantastic. Kieran says, sensible decision to give up the last weekend to concentrate on this one. Totally our real battle this season. I don't know if that's fully true, mate, but and I think you've put that in, obviously, in the emoji, but I know what you mean. This was the bigger game. We actually did say going into the Arsenal game that this was the bigger game. It also just shuts up, like there was some sort of stuff going around sort of the manager as well going into this game, which I'm glad that that's shut that up. And he says, was that the goalie that just came in for 500k that Leeds fans were losing their over, saying we need it? I know. This is what I always said this with Darlow. Darlow's good enough to keep us in the Premier League, in my opinion. And I think he's good enough to get to the end of the season. I don't think Darlow's the long-term solution. I haven't thought it for a while. I haven't thought it all season. And I don't think Perry's the long-term solution. But for me, next season, I would give Darlow a new contract. He should be the number 2. We should try to move Perry on and hopefully just get something where we don't take a massive PSR hit on him and bring in a new goalkeeper. But he can do a job as a second-choice keeper. And I think tonight proved it. We didn't need to go. We didn't need to sort of have the panic we did at the end of last season. Scooby says the Gruev chant is the chant for a reason. Enough said, really. Kieran said, Gruev is a defensive midfielder. Any forward passing from him are gravy, but 2 assists is out of this world. I know, mate. 2 assists from your number 6 is crazy good. Andy said Aronson should be given a new contract. I agree with that. I believe he's got 1 year left in the summer, so I agree. I think he should. I think he's earned it. And I don't think he's a sort of player, like there's certain players who play for a new contract and they have a really good time of it. I kind of worry Harry Wilson might be that. I might be completely wrong with that, but I kind of worry he's having the best season ever when he needs a contract at the end of the season. I do worry, but with him actually on that, but I don't think Aronson's that sort of character at all actually, and I would give him a new contract. That nets for them looks good. I thought it looked crap, mate, and I think that's a bit of tongue-in-cheek comment, which I love, by the way. I absolutely love. Have we seen, by the way, has anyone gone on Nottingham Forest Twitter? I'm interested to know what has been said. Presumably they are absolutely losing their mind. I would imagine actually after this game that Daniel Farke probably gets not Daniel Farke, that Sean Dyche actually gets the sack. I think it was that bad. I really do think it was. Anyway, to wrap up the show, because it has, I don't want to waffle on. What a result for Leeds United tonight. What an absolutely mammoth result. Biggest result of the season, no doubt about it. And some top performances. I even thought Goodmanson started the game superbly well down the left-hand side. Huge threat he was. He's a really good dribbler, actually, for a left-back, Goodmanson, isn't he? It's a fantastic dribbler for a left-back. And we started the game in the right way. And what we did do tonight, which we didn't do away at Everton, we pushed and we got that sort of second and added the third goal, which made it massive, because I must admit, and before we wrap up, I do want to slightly talk about this. I don't think, in fairness, we we managed the game that well at 3-1. But look, I do get it. Like, you've got to remember, like, let's be honest, when we're watching tonight, this going the 86th minute, we were not the only ones. All the fan base is worried at that point. Let's be honest. I'm downstairs watching it, cacking myself. And I know we're in a good position. I know that's all true. I'm a Leeds fan. That's what we do. And it must go onto the pitch. Like, as I said, these players want to stay in the league desperately, like we want to stay in the league. And they're fighting for everything ball. But I think that's why they drop, because naturally nerves kick in. And I know they've got to be better than that. And I know we have got to find a way, in my opinion, maybe next season at this point, of managing games when we have a bit of sort of something going wrong. Sort of better. We do have to do that better. We were definitely at problems tonight when it went to 3-1. Not that they had loads of chances, but I just thought the way we sat in wasn't the correct approach. And it was probably the same against Everton. But as I said, that isn't the end of the world tonight, because we've got the job done. And as I said, the most important thing was the 3 points. And as I said, that's where I want to wrap up the show, really. But look, tomorrow we'll have a show straight after the West Ham game result, reacting to that, because obviously that still for me has huge implications on the relegation battle. Although what tonight has allowed, I would hope, is that now Nottingham Forest naturally are in a position where they're massively in it. So if we do, if West Ham do pick up, maybe you send Forest down now. I think that's what tonight has created. Anyway, thanks all for watching. As always, I'm going to, I don't know, I might have a beer. I might actually have a beer. And I don't usually drink on a Friday, but I might have a beer. But whatever you're going to drink, if it's fresh orange, squash, I don't know, whatever you're going to have, go and have it and enjoy it. And as I said, we'll be back tomorrow after the West Ham game, talking all about it. And hopefully Burnley can do us a favour and it would make this weekend just truly monumental. Anyway, thanks all for watching. Drop a like, drop a subscribe if you are new, all that good stuff. And I will see you tomorrow, everybody. But enjoy your weekend.